Hello and welcome everyone to the masterclass. I'm so excited. Hello, Martha. And today we have the art of setting boundaries. And this is a topic that is so close to my heart because setting boundaries is something I've been suffering from and struggling with for a long time. And as I started healing and getting closer to know who I am, my relationship started to change. Everything in my life started to change for the better because I started to get closer to my values and what I need and what I want in this life. So when I changed on the inside, my relationships started to change and the quality of these relationships started to change. And so I would love to hear from Martha. Hello, Martha, and welcome. Can you tell us where are you from?
I'm from Alberta, Canada, or Lethbridge, Alberta.
That's amazing. Is it North Canada or South?
I'm very close to the American border, but I'm in the West, in the prairie lands, just as they're migrating into the Rockies.
Okay, wonderful. How is the weather?
The weather is starting to warm up.
Okay. Here in Texas, it already warmed up a long time ago.
Oh, here in Texas.
We're already sweating. But it's beautiful. So, what are you most excited about today, Martha?
Okay, well, just the idea of learning how to set boundaries and not feel guilty about them, or just feeling empowered to do that in a good way.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, because you mentioned guilt, and that's amazing because usually what happens is we feel guilty for setting boundaries or saying no to people or being able to just stand up for what's right for us, right? Even and specifically with the people who are close to us. This feeling of guilt needs to go away. And this is how we work on setting boundaries. We start with ourselves and recognizing the limiting beliefs and the emotions that are stuck in our bodies and our minds. And once we let go of them, it's so much easier to communicate that with others. So it starts with the self, and then we start working on the relationships. Because if we want to start working on the relationship and changing others, chances are others don't want to change. You just can't force them to change. I know this is a hard truth, but it's like it's almost impossible until they are ready to change. And this is a very challenging truth that we need to accept. But it's really liberating. So let's begin with the masterclass.
I'm taking notes.
Absolutely. Amazing. Keep taking notes. This is gonna be a not too long masterclass, but it's gonna be about 1 hour. And then the next, yes, and then the next half an hour we'll be having the question and answers. If you have any questions. So let me start sharing the screen. Are you ready?
Ready.
Awesome. Do you see the screen?
Yes.
Amazing. So I called it the art of setting boundaries. The name came up, I don't know from where, but it just happened to come up on my mind. And I think the art is because it's an art. It's a process of recognizing who you are, what your values are, and then communicating that with others with ease and with simplicity without having to suffer or feel guilty. So it's literally an art. So that's why I called it an art. Now, usually when there are many people here, I use these standards to let them know that they need to raise their hands when they want to ask a question. And I get them excited. So Martha is already on fire. So I know you're excited. And I always ask people to mute themselves. And if they have any questions, they can come off mute. So these are just basic standards. And of course, I'm gonna tell people about myself because they need to have trust in me before they can get value from me. So as you can read here, this is just part of my life. I'm a life coach. I have 65 plus hours of coaching experience. I study with a coaching institute in Australia online, and I study consciousness and human potential at Moorish International University. Since I was very young, I was obsessed with studying the human psyche, how people also think, the mind of human beings, the psychology of humans. I just was obsessed because with the many problems that we go through in this life and struggles, especially the childhood traumas, and we all went through that, there comes a point where you want to find out why this happens to you. And as you discover, as you start on this journey of realizing or exploring why this happens to you, and also many people in your life, in your family, in your neighborhood, in your country, you want to know why this keeps repeating, right? And so one way or another, I became obsessed with understanding how humans think, how they behave, how the relationship between humans is established, how it's maintained, why some relationships, actually most of them, are not sustainable. You get to know people, they disappoint you or you disappoint them, and then you both let go of each other. And the hard part is you can't forgive them. I'm not gonna forgive them, okay? You hear that word. I can't forgive them. They hurt me, or they could do the same thing. So this whole thing, the conflict in the human society, is what inspired me and what drove me to ask these questions. And so, if you don't know, I came from the Middle East, namely from Jordan. It's a beautiful small country. Um, and we lived just a normal life like many people, and we weren't so rich, we weren't so poor, maybe closer to the poor side of the society, but we were doing really well compared to many other people who were suffering so much. But also, like any family, we had so many conflicts, and arguments, and we were kids and watching that, and it's not easy to watch the parents and the cousins and the uncles and all these people in the family having conflict all of the time. And you feel guilty as a kid. You don't know what's going on. You're just watching. You're just listening to words that are not appropriate, maybe, or listening to um, stuff that is not supposed to be discussed in front of children. Um, Many people have trauma, but the thing is, most people don't really understand that they have trauma, and they are giving this trauma to kids. And so they're not even aware, they're blind, right? And so I'm not talking about them to blame them or be angry at them, but I'm just saying that my story started this way, with having family conflict, neighborhood conflicts, being not actually bullied, but I was hit by the the other kids in the neighborhood, and I would never like tell anyone about it, and I was always afraid of replying or head them back or doing anything about it. And so I was always that shy kid who is respecting everyone and trying to please everyone and being that good boy. And even at school, I was almost a nerd, but I've never asked for help when I needed help. I've never expressed my emotions when I was angry, when I was sad, when I was mad, when I was frustrated. I couldn't express it because I didn't learn how to. And honestly, most people in the family didn't know how to communicate that as well. And instead, they would, start conflicts. That's the best way. That's the thing that they know best, right? And so as I grew up, I went to the United States in 2018. I was 18 years old, and everything started to change. The way the culture is, the way people work, the way people relate to each other, that it's just different. And I know that people who've lived in the United States forever might not be noticing the difference. And I know that the same thing is true for my country. If we are living in a society and we are so used to it, we don't see the uniqueness and the beauty about it, but mostly we see the dark side of it, right? So I saw the bright side of the American culture. I know there is a lot of, you know, negative and positive stuff, but I was focused on the positive things that helped me change and evolve. So it was kind of like a spiritual awakening, not a cultural shock. You know, I was told by my family, oh, this will be a cultural shock in the beginning, but you will get used to it. But actually, it wasn't a cultural shock only, it was also an awakening to my truth. Because here's what happened over the years in the United States. I didn't have to keep my identity based on the people's expectations. What do I mean by that? You know, when you are the good girl or the good boy, the person who is always satisfying everyone, who is always pleasing everyone, who is always trying to be the best, but they're not actually seen or understood as they should be. And their deepest needs are never expressed, right? The difference is when I came to America, the people are different. They don't know me. They don't know my history. They don't know my family's conflicts. They don't know my neighborhood. They don't know the devil kids in the neighborhood who would hate me. They know nothing. So I was able to be myself again, that pure child full of joy, full of love, full of self-expression. And I wasn't shy to talk about myself and, you know, communicate, especially when I started working. And it just changed for me. And I saw many differences in the culture. So that was also something that changed my perspective on life. And I know many people travel from America to Jordan or to the Middle East or to Mexico or other places, and they see the uniqueness in that country that the people, the citizens themselves cannot see it because they are so used to it that they only see the dark side of their culture. And it happens everywhere. So after a while of working and attending school on and off because I wasn't sure what I want in this life, but I was starting to realize who I am and what I want to do in this life. I wanted to do something different. You know, I was having a job, I was going to school, like I said, one semester on, one semester off, and but I was doing really good at my job. And in less than 2 years, I became a team leader in the company, and my English improved after so many embarrassments, especially the communication skills. But at the same time, I knew I wanted something bigger, right? I knew I wanted to move somewhere else, not as a place of residence. I wanted to stay in Texas, but I wanted to do something different, to move to a different kind of work or start a business or do something different. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have any experience in business and entrepreneurship, but I want to do something different. And I was inspired by many people on the internet and in my own life. But I didn't know what it was. I knew I didn't want to continue with my mechanical engineering. I just was lost. You know, I let go of my old identity all the way. And now I have my new identity. It's not complete, but there's something that I want to do. I just don't know. There's some love, there's some peace that I want to spread to the world. And as the days went by, I started realizing that I can help people with what I went through, the self-expression stuff, and expressing the needs and setting boundaries and stop pleasing people and stop trying to be that person who is always there for everyone, but for yourself. You know, that feeling when you are running and trying and doing and working and everyone is happy, but you are burnt out. It doesn't feel so good, right? And so I knew that what I wanted to do, the picture was still not complete because I don't know who does that. I didn't know what coaching is at that time. And so I got connected with a lady through one of the Facebook groups, spiritual Facebook groups, and she loved the post that I put on Facebook about unconditional love. And so we got connected and we became friends on Facebook. And at some point, she said, you know what? I'm a life coach and I want to offer you a free coaching session because I see the light in you. I see hope and I see the love that you have. And I really want to help you. I just want to see what you are all about. And I was like, okay, because I trusted her, but I didn't know what coaching was. I said, okay, thank you. And we planned for that. And I was thinking, what is life coaching? How is it going to be? I was so, stressed and thinking about it. But I already said yes because I trusted her and I needed to find that person who finally understands who I am, not as a person, but as a soul. That's the level of understanding that you need. Anyone can know who you are. People can know your name, your age, your job, your experience, your qualifications. People know that. It's easy. That's your reputation. And it's awesome to maintain a beautiful, good reputation. But that's not everything. You need people to understand you on a deep, deep, deep level. That's what I needed at that time. So there it comes. The coaching session comes from that wonderful lady. She's from Australia. Actually, she lived in Australia, but she's from the same, from the Middle East, actually from Jordan as well. But yeah, she gave me the first coaching session in my life. And I was able to express who I am with my light, with my darkness. And we did a healing session on childhood trauma. And it was so transformative. And it got me on fire because I was like, what is this? What did we just do? And she told me in the end, she said, Yanali, I think that life coaching is the right thing that you want to do. If you want to help others, if you are really feeling that change and that urge to help others and to share that love, I see life coaching for you is so great. I know it's not easy. I know it's going to take you a lot of time and it's going to take, effort, but that's what I see in you. And I started thinking about it, but it didn't take me a very long time. I knew this is the right thing. And so she told me about the coaching institute in Australia that she studied at. And I was watching them for about 11 months. No, from September 2020 until July 2021. That's like you 10 months, right? 10 months watching the institute, thinking about coaching, knowing that it's the right thing for me, but I didn't have money. I didn't have, the courage to say yes. And I was afraid. What if I fail? What if I can't help others? What if what I'm doing is just nonsense and it's not going to help anyone? But then on July 23rd, 2021, I was in Austin. I was in the car watching a free training with Matt Lavars, one of the trainers and the mentors in the coaching institute. He's amazing. And he was doing a free training. There was a few, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 people. I'm not sure about the number, but it inspired me so much. And during that training, I was in the car, I was on the phone, and I was just with them. And they offered a program, and that was called the Global Quest Coach. And it was for those people who want to discover what coaching is and to start and to learn what coaching is. And, it's an online program. It's for 12 months. So I saw people started to enroll in the program and it was like, oh my God, this is my opportunity. I've been delaying this and overthinking about it for 10 or 9 months now. It's time to take action. And I don't care about money because they had a payment plan. And I said, I'll just pay the down payment and then I'll figure everything else out later. I'm just going to take because the energy was so high in the room and I was so excited. And so I took the decision. And thankfully, I would never regret doing that. It opened a whole new opportunity for me. The first thing they expose you to is the Facebook group, which is out of the world, something I've never experienced before. A group of thousands of people or so kind that you go like, do these people exist? Like, so kind, so beautiful, so loving. They just want to give you value. They just want to help you. And they are all offering coaching sessions and asking for help and all that. It's just a supportive community. It's just amazing. And I was like, oh my God, these are my people. That's my home, you know? Even though it's online, it's still home. It feels home to be around these people who don't want anything from you, but they want to help you. And if you have anything to offer, you can also help them. So that's when my journey started. And then I started, taking more risks and, working hard to keep my money in my savings so that I can invest them in my coaching and my books and the self-development stuff. And I hired another coach a few weeks later, and she was a business coach, and she taught us how to build the package and how to, market our services and how to understand how to, compress all what we do in one thing and offer it for people. Because if we can't, offer programs for people, then what we're doing is just a hobby, right? It's just something you do when you are free. But if you want to have a real business, you want to start doing the marketing stuff and you want to start learning how to talk to people and how to express yourself, because it's healing is amazing, but you have relationships in your life and you want to reflect your healing on your relationships, on your work, on your business if you have one. And so it all started to make sense. I know it's not easy. It wasn't easy at all. It's full of challenges and full of road, bumps and blocks, but that's what life is all about. We grow out of them. So that was a changing moment in my life when I took that first decision, joining the coaching institute and also signing up for the program of my business coach. She's currently still my business coach, and so she's so supportive. And I'm doing this masterclass actually because of her and because of her help. By the way, her name is Paula. Um, I hope this story inspires you. There's a lot of details in my life journey, but that's where I came from. That's I didn't talk about my age yet, because this doesn't matter. I'm 20. I'm almost 22 years old, but really the real identity is what you are passionate about. Your pain, your healing, your relationships. That's the real identity. It's not your name or your age or what you went through. It's not even the guilt that you feel. I hope you're resonating with this so far. And so if you are, I'll just drink a sip of water, give you a break so you can breathe. And then let's move on to the next slide. Now, why is it so hard to set boundaries? There are a million reasons for this. And when we want to talk about it, we will never finish. But if we want to get all of these reasons together, we can say it in one sentence. We don't know how to set boundaries because we don't know our values. I'll say it again if you need to take notes. We don't know how to set boundaries because we don't know our values, or we don't understand our own values. That's why I shared my story and I mentioned how my identity changed, and it didn't change once, but it kept changing and it still keeps changing, right? That's the journey of life. And so as you start letting go of old stuff and healing your traumas and getting to know yourself more and more, the picture becomes clearer to you every time. I'm not saying you can heal everything at once, because what's the point of living another 20 or 30 or 50 years if you healed everything? But once you heal, the picture changes and becomes much more clearer, right? But you also understand your values, because once you understand the real you, not the identity that the society has thrown on you and expected from you and obligated you to stick to. No, once you know your real identity, you start understanding your values. So I answered this, then let's get to the next thing, the phenomena of being misunderstood. And so if we don't understand our values, how could others understand what we are all about, what we want, what we need? And this applies to all of our relationships. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship we are talking about. It's for all the relationships. And I call it the phenomena because it's a phenomena, and it's something that happens in everyday's life. Of course, not everyone you encounter is going to understand who you are. Not everyone needs to understand you. You don't need to convince others of who you are, not at all. But in your relationships, everyday relationships, your work relationships, your family, if you have a partner, kids, grandparents, anyone in your life, there must be an understanding on a deep level. And if there is no understanding, that's where conflict comes from. I don't understand my values. You don't understand your values. We try to project that on each other, and conflict takes place. And, I'm talking about this from my own experience and how I observed my parents. And here's the crazy thing. Once you change, you no longer have anything like grudge or, anger at your parents, because you feel empathy for them. You feel compassionate because you know that they didn't really understand themselves. They didn't heal any of their traumas. They don't know what healing is. And their parents did the same thing. They had traumas and they were never aware of it, and they pass it on to the next generation, and this is basically what's been going on. So the phenomena of being misunderstood is all about not being able to communicate with others. Usually what we do is we blame others for not understanding us, but we don't really understand what we want. What is my value? What are my needs? What is it that I want? And once I understand that, can I communicate that with others? Am I going to be able to express myself more? Am I going to be able to give more love without being burnt out? So let's get to the next slide, but I'm also going to mention some values before that. We have different values, and we could have many of them. We could have all of them. We could have just one of them. But in general, we have values. There is no way that we don't have them. And because our values are being misunderstood or even disrespected, we are hurt. And sometimes we ourselves, we hurt others with or without intention because we don't understand their values or we disrespect them. So it's both ways. So some people have compassion as their number one value. Some people have peace. Some people have emotional intelligence. Some people have intimacy. Some people have just love. They love everyone. That's the highest purpose, right? So you might have all of them all together. You might have one of them. You might have two, three, four. It doesn't matter. You need to list them all. You need to stick to them. This is not me telling you what you need to do. This is me reminding you that your values are the most important thing in this life, because they don't come out of your mind. They come out of your heart, out of your soul. That's why if you want a healthy life, then your values must be healthy. They must be sacred, never disrupted, never disturbed by anyone, right? And it's not something easy. I had a lot of fights and arguments with people in my family. Um, especially my dad. He's, I really love him so much. The difficult part was setting boundaries. And I knew when I set boundaries with my dad, I knew that I would be able to set boundaries with the entire world. And this is what I told one of my clients the other day. If there's one person in your life that you feel is so difficult, so difficult, especially when it's someone close to you, if you can figure out how to set boundaries with this person with love, with compassion, with courage, with boldness, without trying to convince them, or without conflict and arguments. Sometimes you will get into arguments. If it doesn't drain your energy, that's okay, but you really want to be careful. If you can fix your relationship with this person, then it will become much easier to fix all of your relationships. Because if this one difficult person in your life is overcome by grace and love and peace and boldness and courage, you can overcome every single difficulty in every single relationship. And I experienced this with myself, with my own experience with my dad, right? Once I was able to heal my relationship with him, I was able to heal my relationships with others, because it's the same way of communicating my values. The same way I did it with my dad, the same way I did it with others, in my family and all the people. And so taking the mask off, by the way, I have some masks here. I prepared them because I wanted to talk about how we have a lot of masks actually, and we accumulated them over the years. I know Martha is laughing, and look, in coaching they call it the onion, and I call it the mask, but it's the same thing. We are peeling the onion. And so you have this mask here. This mask might be you are never enough, right? And I'm hiding behind it. I healed it. Life becomes maybe easier or more beautiful or clearer, I don't know. Then there is another thing. You are never understood. I'll take it off by healing, by meditation, by coaching, by whatever I want to do. And then there's another thing. If you are understood, people will never respect you because you're not worthy still. You see, you let go of worthiness issue, but not all the way. It popped up again. Maybe not in the same, heaviness, but it's still there. So you let go of it. And then maybe something inside your head says, you can't start your own business, or you don't have money for coaching, or you just can't afford doing this, or don't trust people. You see, don't trust people. This is so dangerous, because some people are trustworthy, some people are not. And you want to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with those who are trustworthy, and being careful of those who are, gonna lie to you or manipulate you or scam you or do anything like that. So you keep taking off the masks forever, because as long as you are living in this life, it's a journey of self-discovery and exploration, and it becomes more and more and more clear and more beautiful the more you heal. So it's not about getting to a point, getting to the top of the mountain, but it's about being patient, being compassionate with yourself. And trust me, this is not selfish. This is not selfish. This will reflect on all of your relationships. If you are able to understand who you are, you understand your values, and you're taking the masks off, the identity that the society threw on you, you can reflect that on all of your relationships. You can reflect that when it comes to money blocks and joining a coaching program, or anything that has to do with fear and doubt can be resolved. But it's also a process, because we can't heal everything at once. We accumulated all that throughout the years, but we want to do that anyway, right? We are for that. We're ready. We want to do that. We don't want more traumas in the world. We want to heal the world, right? And so what's next? Now, this is Purity's experience, and Purity is a lovely heart, a lovely lady with a pure heart, as her name suggests. She was having social anxiety and depression. She didn't know where to go, and you know, the universe timing was right for her. Somehow we became friends on Facebook, and she knew that I'm a life coach, and she knew that I can help her, or she felt that I can help her. And so I had a conversation with her, just like I have conversations on a regular basis with beautiful people. And so I gave her a session because I wanted to give back. I keep remembering the lady that gave me the first coaching session every time I coach, especially when I give people the experience, the taste of coaching. When I give them, I say, okay, I can give you the coaching session for free because I want to help you. And I want you to understand that you can ask for help. It's not a shame. It's not going to be, it's not going to decrease your value. It's not going to decrease your respect or other people's respect to you. You can ask for help. And in many cases, you will need to ask for help because there are people who've been through what you are going through right now, and they have they have the recipe. That's as simple as that. And so Purity's courage led her to that session. And as you see, she she said, I was depressed, stuck into thoughts. I feel free now. Thank you so much. Heaviness, you took my heaviness as it were yours, even in the long distance in our meetings. I felt your companion. May God always bless you to help others more and more. And this gives me a bigger purpose. So the more I do this, the more I want to do it more. And so I know Purity wasn't ready to hire a coach at that time, but I'm really happy that I was able to change something in her, with her help, of course, just in 1 hour, or maybe less, or maybe more. I don't know. But yeah. And so, Martha, in case you are taking notes, the first solution was taking the mask off. This is number one. And number two is know thyself, know your values. And I went deep on that. So I'm not gonna take a long time, but I'm just gonna emphasize that on that again. There's nothing more important in this life than knowing your path. And I know it always starts with pain, with trauma, with conflict, with so many stuff in the relationships with our parents, and then partners, and then kids, if we have kids. But knowing your values and knowing your needs. And I know Martha was in the Tony Robbins challenge. You know that we have 6 basic human needs. And so these 6 basic human needs are also so crucial. Now, because of the time of the masterclass, I wouldn't be able to talk about the needs, the 6 basic needs, but I might be able to talk about them in the next masterclass or on the Facebook story. I always share stuff. But really, the values and the needs are so crucial to be understood by yourself and then communicating them to others. Now, this is Jared. Jared is the person I was talking about previously. And Jared is a dad and is a partner as well. And he's just an amazing person who wanted to serve his kids, his partner, and to be the best he can be at his work. But he was burnt out, literally. He didn't know, he wasn't satisfied. He was doing his best, and his kids are happy, but not really happy on the surface. And he was also happy on the surface. And over 6 sessions, we realized that what he was going through is not what he thought he was going through, because his life was amazingly a magic, a blessing. He's got a job, he's got kids, he's got a beautiful house, he's got a partner. And yes, he had conflicts and stuff like that, but he wasn't appreciating himself. He wasn't celebrating his little wins. That's basically what he was missing. He wasn't recognizing how important this breath or process of breathing. He didn't know before how important it was. Every single day was a blessing. He was just thinking about the future. What can I do next? What can I do to my kids? How can I be a better dad? And so on. And so there was a transformation that happened during, these sessions. And I saw it in him. And he stopped saying, you know, in the beginning, he was saying, yeah, life will be amazing if I do that and I do that and I do that. But he kept saying, but in the beginning. But then after the last transformation that we did together, he stopped using the word but. And he was like living it. He was like appreciating his life. He was like appreciating himself for what he was doing because he was doing more than enough. He was just not appreciating himself enough. And he realized that, oh, wait a minute, what I'm doing is absolutely more than enough. I'm the best person I'm able to be at this time. And yes, I have future goals. Yes, I want to improve my life, but there's nothing missing. There's really nothing missing. It was just overthinking and past, childhood traumas and current conflicts and a lot of overthinking and doubt. But it's so beautiful to know and realize that your problem is not as complicated as you thought it was. That's Jared's experience with, you know, knowing himself and understanding his values, because he also had a very high self-respect, and he just, I shared that with him. He had self-respect and he can't compromise that. And so self-respect is also about appreciating yourself and celebrating your wins. That's beautiful, Jared's experience. And number 3 is speaking your truth. So you took all the masks off, at least for now, and you are able to understand your values. Is it authenticity? Is it love? Is it compassion? Is it intimacy? Is it healthy relationships? Is it boundaries? Is it high self-respect? I don't know, maybe all of them. Now it's time to communicate that with others. And the empowerment you have as you heal will make it look so silly and so easy and so simple to communicate that with others, because there's that urge in your soul that I need to communicate that with others. I can no longer go back to the old personality. That's non-negotiable. But now it's time to speak my truth. It's time to be who I'm meant to be. And now it's time to speak that out, to talk to others about it, to tell them what is missing in the relationship, what I need, and offer them if they need help and support. Because now I'm more expanded, I'm more conscious of my problems and I was able to heal. I can also help others heal if they want, if they are ready. So I asked them to respect my values, and I started setting boundaries, and I also give them the space to fix anything or communicate anything with me. If they are needing anything, I'm more than open. I'm healed. I'm here for you. Okay. That's Ghislaine's experience also. And also she had, just like me, she had many traumas and conflict, especially in the family. But there is a light that she was aware of. She had that light. And of course, each one of us has that light, but not all of us are still aware of it. But Ghislaine was already aware, and she came to me and she was like, I just need to overcome the conflicts with my family, with my dad, and all this stuff. And, the realization, as always, is I'm not going to fix your relationship with your dad because I'm not a counselor and I'm not a therapist, but I can help you transform on the inside so you can be empowered to fix any relationship, or to let go of any relationship that you don't need, or to make it more healthy, or do whatever you want in your life. but first I'm going to help you fix your relationship with yourself. That's my job. And so and so yeah, as you can read, she was just astonished, and she's just an amazing soul. Now, number 4, I think that's number 4, asking for help. This is something I suffered from for a long time, hiding and never asking for help. And it affected my mental health in terms of overthinking things and never speak about them. But also it affected my physical health and my emotional health. When it came to my emotion, I just shut all of them down a long time ago before I started this healing stuff and before I traveled to the United States. In a young age, in my teenage, at 14, I think I was depressed already, but it didn't last too long, which is fortunate. But I was forced to speak about it because my parents noticed that. If they didn't notice it, I would have never spoken about it. And of course, it helped me at that time, but I needed healing anyway. I couldn't live my life just with the same personality and, thinking the same way. And so my emotions were shut down. My physical health, I had problems with digestion and, some pain in some parts of my body, but I didn't know that it was related to suppressing my emotions and never communicating with them. And people would think, you're shy. No, I'm not shy. I'm depressed. I didn't know, but it was so obvious by the age of 14. Actually, at the age of 14, it was so obvious to me, and my grades at school were dropped, and I wasn't able to enjoy life and enjoy things. And so everyone started to notice that. And so actually, when you are depressed, you don't care. It's like you just give up, let people know. It's like, I'm done, uh, but that help that I got from my parents was, initial, and that was amazing because my dad sat with me and he would listen to me, and he was not judging me for what I was going through, and that was really a blessing. So there is a lot of positive things about our parents that we also sometimes don't see. We always focus on the traumas. We tend to do that, but it's really great to see the bright side of who they are, because they are just like us, particles and lights of God, or the universe or the source. They just didn't understand how to heal. And so I started asking for help, and it started, as my transformation journey took place and I traveled to the United States. I took big decisions and I went through hardships and challenges, but I always asked for help because I couldn't make it without the help of those who were there for me. So yes, there is self-healing, there is self-love, there's self-compassion, there's self-respect, but that does not mean you have to do it alone. This is the big realization I had to face, is that self-love and self-care, and people in spirituality today talk about this a lot, but we think that we have to do it all alone. And the truth is, no, we can do it with those who already experienced that, and they are always ready to help. And so the art of asking, you can call it the art of asking for help. That's Marwa's experience just recently, last week. And she's also a light. She's a beautiful soul, and she asked for help. And, for the first 2 times, it was just a normal chat, knowing each other. But on the 3rd time, I said to her, hey, I'm gonna offer you like a free coaching session because now I trust you. I know there's healing that you want to do. You know that. This time, I'm not gonna have a normal chat with you. Let's do the transformation. Let's do coaching. Forget about me as a friend. Let's just pretend that I'm your life coach for 1 hour, and please just listen to me, and we'll do the work together. And now that you trust me, you'll see the transformation. And so with her help and with my guidance, she was able to let go of the heaviness in her chest and in her body. And that wasn't just, body stuff, but she healed a whole amount of trauma that she had for decades, like 20 or 30 years. And I don't want to say that this is a complete healing or she will never need any more healing, because I myself, as a life coach, still ask fellow coaches for healing sessions and stuff like that. We all need healing all the time. And it's a beautiful, never-ending journey of self-discovery. So we will keep healing, and we will keep healing others along the way. That's Marwa. Number 5. I remember Martha in the beginning talked about the guilt, which leads to shame, by the way. It leads to shame, and we keep hiding our own, allow me to call it darkness, but it's not necessarily our fault. It's never our fault, because we didn't understand life. We didn't understand how to deal with others. We didn't understand or learn how to treat our emotions, our anger, our frustration, and all that, because our parents didn't learn how to do that and couldn't offer that for us. They did their best. We love them. They're just not the right people to learn from when it comes to shame and guilt, right? Especially if they didn't heal that yet. Hopefully we help them heal it if they're ready. But healing the guilt is, of course, done by understanding that this is not your identity. If you are ashamed of something, like, I don't know, something wrong with your face, or with your nose, or with your eyebrows, or anything in your body or yourself as a person, you think that you need to be perfect because people will love you. Guess what? There are people who look like perfect, but there are a lot of haters, and we see that with celebrities and those popular people. They look perfect, but they're still hated by so many people. But the thing is, are you gonna wait for people to be pleased and satisfied completely with who you are, how you look, before you let go of guilt? It's never gonna go away if you don't let it go away, if you don't start facing it. And so these two are so related, because shame is just hiding the guilt, basically. So if you no longer are identified with this persona, the mask that the society threw on you, and these, insecurities that you have within you, if you know that this is not you, this is just part of your journey, something that you need to heal, some sort of pain or trauma that you have been exposed to, and for some reason, a wisdom that maybe right now you don't know, but once you heal it, you might be thankful that you had it, because now you can help others. So once you heal the guilt, you let go of the mask, there's no shame. I mean, I used to be afraid so much of showing myself on social media as a life coach. I was afraid of my family, and I have never talked about topics like self-expression or something like this with my family members. But now so many of them are inspired by me, and some of them like comment for me and read all of my posts and are like inspired by me. And I'm like, I'm glad I didn't let shame stop me. And of course, I got the support from my coaches and the coaching institute and the fellow coaches. All these things, like, it all happens for a reason. And how we can make the best out of every situation is really what will shape our life, what will shape our relationships. So we can look at shame and guilt as something that will never go away. That's me. I will keep hiding. Or you can say, you know what guilts I have? Ugly. My nose is bent. Uh, I wear glasses. What is it? How can I fix my relationship with myself? And then once guilt goes away, shame is much easier to go away. Sometimes you don't even need to try, because this is so funny, but it's so true. When your soul is urging you to be yourself, other people, other people's judgments become less and less impactful. You just like let them think whatever they want to think. There are people who need to hear my words. There are people who need to listen to my videos. There are people who need to see my posts, right? Sometimes I'm hesitant to share something because there's a lot of judgment that will come up. I know that even if they don't share it, but there's also many people that will need it. So let me not be selfish and share it anyway, because that's my experience. That's the wisdom I have. That's the knowledge I have. Let me share it with others. That's letting go of shame and guilt. And I know the order is flipped, but they both go together. That's John's experience. And John is that kind of person. He used to be that person just like me who didn't ask for help, and he was always going to do it on his own. He's the strong man. Men are not supposed to feel, men are supposed to be strong. Men are supposed to be bold. Yeah, that's true. Actually, men and women sometimes they need to be bold and courageous and strong. But this doesn't mean we can't be vulnerable. We can't feel. This doesn't mean we can't express ourselves and ask for help when we need help. And this, I mean, I saw it in women and men, not only men. The overwhelm and the heaviness when it comes to asking for help is so big that the transformation that they go through, like John here, is something they've never imagined. And when I accepted the free session with the amazing soul the first time, the same thing happened to me, or for me. And it was just like this. This is real. This is real. Like, I didn't know that I can ask for help, but now I know it's safe to ask the right person, because I know there are many people who are gonna play with the emotions, people who are gonna pretend to be someone who can help in your life or on the online stuff. But this is something, of course, our own responsibility to be careful about. But once we find the right person and we can feel it in the vibe, in the vibrations, it's our opportunity that we don't want to miss. We don't want to miss, right? And so John didn't miss his opportunity to ask for help, and he helped that trauma with his close relative who passed away. And you can imagine that he did the healing even after his relative passed away. And I definitely believe this is possible. It's absolutely possible. There's nothing that cannot be healed. Everything can be healed. And so that's John's experience, and he gave his opinion about me. But then I think this is the last point. This is number 6. If you are still following with the numbers, sorry, I didn't number them, but I think this is number 6. Facing the problem is the real solution. Usually we want to get rid of our problems by hiding from them, by pretending they don't exist, by distracting ourselves with something else, cooking, playing. I sometimes distract myself with walking, and I know how important to me walking in nature is because I love walking in nature. But sometimes I use it as a distraction to run away from my problems. So even that could be used as an excuse to not deal with your own challenges. So you can call it challenge if you want, if you don't feel comfortable with calling it a problem. But either ways, facing the problem instead of trying to find solutions outside and distracting yourself with technology or anything, facing the problem is the real key. And here's Supriya. Supriya is a business coach, and she she teaches Ayurveda, the ancient India wisdom when it comes to health and consciousness combined together, awareness of the body. And we have three parts. I also study that. I studied that in university. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These are the types of the body. I don't know the details, but that's basically what Ayurveda is about. But it's so much more. I'm not qualified to talk about it, but Supriya's business is all about that and the holistic life. And so she was having lots of mental clutter and overthinking, and she was just not sure if she's doing the right thing and what's the next step for her. But it turned out during the session and after the session that it was all about the emotions that she had that she didn't deal with, maybe for a while, not too long, but for a while. And so it turned out to be that there was no problem really. All she needed is to go to nature, recharge, and get clearer on what really she wants and be compassionate with herself. And the problems that she thought were problems before the session were just some issues, some challenges just to deal with. But the real thing that she needed was this emotional intimacy with herself, like knowing what she needed at that moment. And she did that during the session, but she also committed to herself and to me that she will go to nature and she will recharge herself because, that's what she loves doing. And I know I feel burnt out when I don't go to nature for a week. I just can't. Uh, I can't stand that. I used to not walk, but ever since I developed this relationship with nature, with the trees, with the birds, with the squirrels outside, I just, maybe you can call it attachment. I just can't let go of this thing. I love nature. I'm still attached to nature. But right now, I know it was a lot of information. I hope that you are able to get inspired. I will do a quick exercise with you, but if you want to take a sip of water or take a deep breath before that, you can take your time. Awesome. All right, so let's take 3 deep breaths together. And when you are ready, you can close your eyes. And I would like you to think about yourself, your life, having this awareness. Think about what you are going through right now, the blessings and the beauty in your life, also the challenges that you are facing and the difficulties. See everything from a larger perspective, as if you were looking from an airplane or a high building. You're not that situation. You're just watching your life from a very, very, very deep, large perspective. As you look at your life in general, you are counting the blessings that you have, all the good relationships, all the things in your life that you are thankful for, all the achievements that you've accomplished so far. You're grateful for every single relationship that served you. those people who supported you when you needed them the most. And remember how that impacted you on the inside, how that inspired you to help others because you got the help when you needed it the most. You felt that in your heart and you knew there was a light that only needed to be touched by someone for something to happen. And at least one time, you remembered that light was just ignited, was lit by a word from someone, by something that happened, or someone said something, or helped you, supported you some way or another. They just ignited that light within you. It was just waiting for that moment. And in this very moment, you remember your highest values, your highest standards, your deepest needs. As you have this conscious awareness, you're being grateful and thankful, and you know that you can help others. You know your own power. You know how compassionate you are, and you know how much love you have, and you know how much you can give. And you know exactly what people need, especially those who are going through the same thing that you went through, or maybe you still are going through. You remember that the first thing you need is to be compassionate with yourself, to be lovely and kind with you, with yourself, with who you are, to accept the light within you and the dark side, the dark aspect within you. They're both just right. There's nothing wrong about them. We all have darkness, we all have light, and healing the darkness will lead us back to the light, which is who we are. And as we see the picture from that bigger perspective, we're so thankful for this life. We're so grateful for everything that happened for us that now the challenges that used to be scary are nothing to worry about. The worry that was standing on our shoulders is so small compared to the love in our hearts. And you know that. You see that. You feel that. Let it process. Let it happen. You don't need to resist. This is part of your journey. This is part of your healing. You are healing. And the love that you have within your heart is not only big, but it's infinite. Could be spread to the entire world. But even that is too early. You already have love for yourself and compassion for yourself. Yes, there are so many conflicts in life, there are so many challenges, and those challenges are telling you to go back to yourself and just give some attention to yourself, to your heart, to what you need right now at this moment. And here you are, listening. Here you are, giving yourself the moment that it needed it, the moment that it needed the most. And those tears are telling you that you are healed. You are healing everything. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong. You know that deep inside. As you give yourself the compassion and the forgiveness for everything, you feel that grace. You feel that breeze of love that is so light, but it's so impactful that it's coursing through your body. It's that love that you don't put any effort to produce. You don't do anything to create that love. You are love. You are. That's why you're not putting any effort. You're not trying to create love. You're not trying to bring it. It's there. It's there. Let it course through your blood, your body, your organs, your mind, and your emotions are all being orchestrated together. No conflict, just relief as you release all that and you allow all the pain to go outside of the body, all of it. Breathe that love, which is what you are. Breathe that love again. Breathe that love once more. Remember that this is you and that you can take it with you anywhere, at any time. You don't need to worry about finding love. Love is with you all along, forever. Allow that once more to course through your body with grace, with ease. With grace, stillness is who you are. You are balanced in your emotions. Your body feels better. You're getting back to your natural state. That joyful kid full of playfulness, love, joy, pure joy. That's the natural state of who you are. And confirm to yourself that you can take this with you because this is you. You're not what the community or the society told you you are. You know your real identity deep inside, and you're not worried about others' expectations. You're able to communicate with others with more grace, more love, more compassion, and more boldness. And your relationships are becoming simple, full of love and understanding, and graceful, that you are so grateful for those people in your life. And they are so grateful to have you in their life. And these little conflicts can be solved between you at any time you want, using peace and ease and stillness. Anything can be solved. Breathe that love once more in your body. Amazing. Great job. As you feel better, as you feel more powerful, energized, and relaxed at the same time, you get ready to live that life with these true feelings, authentic feelings that represent you. As you start slowly getting your awareness back to this room with that smile on your face, reflecting your heart's love, compassion. Feel free to get back to the room, slowly taking your time, opening your eyes. Welcome back. That was a truly deep yet quick exercise. And this is who we are. On a deep level, this is who we are. We are true joy, true love, we're true compassion and playfulness. That's who we are. But that gets covered with our circumstances, with our relationship issues, with our disappointments, and anything that we identify with in this life. All that is going to cover who we are. And what we basically just did is just uncovered it. As simple as that. And so when we remember this masterclass is about setting boundaries, now setting boundaries is not something to be scared of. It's not something woo woo. It's not a fantasy. It's much easier to deal with relationships when we are comfortable with who we are, when we are still and peaceful and in good terms with ourselves, right? And so I'm glad we did this exercise. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Martha. And I just before I finish this masterclass, this amazing masterclass that I had the honor to do. And if you are watching this recording on YouTube, I want you to also understand that you can ask for help. You don't have to suffer anymore, and you don't have to feel alone and lonely any longer. Your tribe is always waiting for you. Just gotta find it. But first, find yourself. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.